in front of his rich friends. A proud billionaire called his cleaner nothing. He laughed as he threw her wet mop away. But life can turn. Years later, in the same building, in the same boardroom, that nothing walked in as his new boss. You want to know how a cleaner rose above a billionaire? Let me tell you. Subscribe for powerful stories like this. The sun was burning the city streets. It was loud outside. But inside the Cola Group tower, it was cold and quiet. The floor shone like a mirror. Amina stood in the corner. She was the cleaner. Her green uniform was old and loose. Her shoes were worn out. She looked older than 35. Life had been hard on her. She squeezed her mop dry. She wiped the floor fast. Her heart beat hard. She knew Mr. Cola was coming. Suddenly, the doors flew open. Guards rushed in. "Move! Olga is coming!" they shouted. Mr. Cola walked in. He was a billionaire in a blue suit. He wore a heavy gold watch. He walked like he owned the world. He was shouting into his phone. "Buy it! I have the money! Do not ask me the price!" Amina panicked. In this office, she had to be invisible. She pulled her bucket to the wall and bowed her head. Mr. Cola thinks he is a god. But he doesn't know what is coming. Subscribe right now so you don't miss the shocking revenge. But Cola stopped. Right in front of her, the office went dead silent. Everyone froze. He looked down. Not at her face, but at his expensive shoe. A tiny drop of water was on the floor nearby. "You," Cola said. His voice was low. Amina shook. "Good morning, sir," she whispered. Cola laughed cruelly. "Good morning. You want to ruin my shoe with this dirty water? I am sorry, sir. It was a mistake." Cola stepped closer. He smelled of rich perfume and pride. "You people, you are lazy. You bring your village dirt into my office." He looked at her plastic bucket. Then, he kicked it. Bam! The bucket hit the wall. Gray water splashed everywhere. It soaked Amina's clean floor. It soaked her uniform. Amina gasped. Tears filled her eyes. But she bit her lip. She could not cry. She needed this money for her children's school fees in the village. She had no power here. "Clean it up," Cola shouted. "If I see dirt again, you are fired. You will beg on the street." "Yes, sir," she whispered. He walked away, not looking back. To him, she was trash. Old Musa, the guard, looked at her with sad eyes. He wanted to help, but he was too scared. Amina dropped to her knees. Her hands shook as she wiped the mess. A single tear fell from her face into the dirty water. She felt broken. She felt small, but she did not know the future. Mr. Cola thought he kicked a nobody. He did not know that the woman on her knees today would hold his life in her hands tomorrow. After the shame in the lobby, Amina went to the small room at the back of the building. This was where the cleaners stayed. It smelled of strong soap and bleach. She sat on a broken plastic chair. She opened her small lunchbox. Inside, there was only plain white rice and a little bit of stew. No meat, no fish. Upstairs, the office staff ordered expensive food. They ate pizza and chicken. They laughed and talked about their weekends. Amina could hear them. One young man joked, "Where is Mama Mop?" I spilled some coffee. The others laughed. To them, she was a joke. But then, the door opened softly. It was old Musa, the security guard. He held out a small orange. "Take this, my daughter," he said. His voice was kind. Amina smiled weakly. "Thank you, Papa Musa. You are too good to me." Musa sat on a bucket near her. "Do not let Cola's words break you," he said. "He has money, but he has no peace. You have a clean heart." Amina nodded. "I am not broken, Papa. I am just tired." She finished her food quickly. She washed her face and went back to work. She cleaned the toilets. She scrubbed the stairs. She emptied the heavy trash bins. She worked until her back felt like it was on fire. At 7 p.m., She finally left the cold glass tower. She took a long bus ride to the noisy part of the city. She walked through the mud to her small house. It was just one tiny room. The walls were cracked. There was no electricity. She lit a small candle. The light danced on the wall. On the wall, there was a picture. It was a photo of her late husband and her 2 children. Her daughter, Binta, and her son, Tunde. They lived in the village with their grandmother because Amina could not afford to keep them in the city. She touched the photo. "I do this for you," she whispered. "One day, you will not suffer like me." She pulled out a small, old notebook from under her mattress. It was a business textbook she found in the trash years ago. The cover was torn. She read by the candlelight. She read about profit and loss. She read about management. Her eyes were heavy, but she forced them to stay open. Most people saw a cleaner, but in this small room, she was a dreamer. "My story will change," she said to the empty room. "God did not bring me this far to leave me here." She blew out the candle and slept on the thin mattress. She needed her rest. She did not know that tomorrow would be the worst day of her life. The humiliation in the lobby was small compared to what was coming next. The storm was about to break. The next morning, the office was shaking with tension. Important visitors were coming from America. These were big investors. Mr. Cola was shouting at everyone. "I want this place shining. No mistakes today. If anything goes wrong, you are all fired." The staff ran around like chickens. They fixed their ties. They cleaned their desks. Amina was polishing the glass in the main hallway. She was invisible as always. Suddenly, a young intern named Samuel came running out of the break room. He was carrying a tray with 4 cups of hot coffee. He was nervous. His hands were shaking. He turned the corner too fast. He bumped into a wall. The cups flew. Hot, brown coffee splashed all over the white marble floor right in front of the elevator. The smell of coffee filled the air. Samuel froze. "Oh my God," he whispered. "Cola will kill me." Amina saw the fear in the boy's eyes. She did not wait. She grabbed her mop and ran to the spot. "Go, Samuel," she said softly. "Hide. I will clean it." They broke her heart, but they couldn't break her spirit. You won't believe how she fights back. Subscribe to see the underdog win. She dropped to her knees to wipe the floor fast. The elevator doors opened. Mr. Cola walked out. He was smiling. 3 white men in expensive gray suits were with him. They were laughing. Cola was looking at the guests. He did not look at the floor. He stepped right into the puddle of coffee. His shiny shoe slipped. He waved his arms to keep balance. He almost fell flat on his face. The guests gasped. "Oh," one man said. Cola regained his balance. His smile vanished. His face turned dark red with anger. He looked down. He saw the brown stain on his trousers. Then, he saw Amina on her knees with a rag. "Are you blind?" Cola exploded. His voice shook the walls. Amina froze. "Sir, I was just—" "You useless idiot!" Cola screamed. "You want to kill me? In front of my guests?" He did not ask what happened. He did not see the intern hiding. He only saw the cleaner. He only saw the cleaner. He did not ask what happened. He grabbed the mop from her hand. He threw it across the hall. It hit the reception desk with a loud bang. The whole office stopped. Everyone watched. "This is why poor people stay poor," Cola shouted, pointing at her. "No brain. No value. You cannot even clean a floor properly." Amina looked up. Her eyes were full of water. "Sir, please. It was an accident." "Shut up," Cola roared. "Do not speak to me. You are nothing here." The American guests looked uncomfortable. One of them touched Cola's arm. "Mr. Cola, it is okay. Let's go." But Cola was not done. His pride was hurt. He wanted to punish someone. He looked at Amina with cold eyes. "You have ruined my mood," he said. And now, I am going to ruin your day. Amina trembled. She thought he would just yell. She did not know he was about to say words that would cut deeper than a knife. Kola turned to the HR manager, Mrs. Bede, who was standing nearby with a notebook. Mrs. Bede, Kola shouted, write this down. If this woman makes one more mistake, even a small one, fire her immediately. Do not pay her. Just throw her out. He looked back at Amina. She was still on her knees, holding the dirty rag. There are thousands of women like you on the street, Kola said, pointing a finger at her face. You are easily replaced. You are lucky I let you breathe the air in my building. Now, get out of my sight. The American guests looked very uncomfortable. One lady whispered. Kola heard her. He smiled a fake smile. My dear, you do not understand. In Africa, you must be hard on these people. If you are soft, they will eat you alive. She is just a cleaner. She has no ambition. No future. Those words hit Amina harder than a slap. No future. She stood up slowly. Her legs felt weak. She picked up her bucket and her broken mop. She did not look at anyone. She felt hundreds of eyes burning into her back. She walked to the service elevator. The sound of her plastic shoes squeaking on the floor was the only noise in the room. She went straight to the staff bathroom. She locked the door of the last stall. Finally, she let go. Amina slid down against the wall until she sat on the cold tiles. She buried her face in her hands. She cried. Her body shook with heavy sobs. The pain was deep in her chest. Why me, God? She whispered. Why must I suffer like this? She remembered her late husband, David. She remembered the day he died in the village hospital because they had no money for surgery. Before he passed, he held her hand. Amina, he had said, promise me. Promise me you will never let the world break you. You are strong. You are a queen. Even without a crown, she looked at her rough hands. She looked at the dirty uniform. She did not feel like a queen. She felt like dirt, but then she wiped her eyes. She stood up and looked in the mirror above the sink. Her eyes were red. Her face was tired. No, she said to her reflection. Kola is wrong. I am not trash. I am a mother. I am a fighter. She splashed cold water on her face. She fixed her scarf. She took a deep breath. She would not quit. If she quit, Kola won. If she quit, her children would starve. She opened the bathroom door and walked back out. She was still a cleaner. She still had the mop. But something inside her had changed. Kola thought he had crushed her spirit. He thought she would stay down forever. But that night, after the pain, Amina made a choice. A choice that would slowly build the road to her shocking revenge. The tears were gone. Now, it was time for work. That night, Amina could not sleep. The room was dark and hot. Mosquitoes buzzed around her ears, but she did not feel them. She only heard Mr. Kola's voice in her head. You have no brain. You have no future. She sat up. She pulled a metal box from under her bed. Inside, there was a small amount of money. It was not much. It was the money for her new shoes. She looked at her old, broken shoes. Then she looked at the money. No, she whispered. My feet can walk in broken shoes. But my mind cannot stay in the darkness. The next day, she finished work early. She did not go home. She walked 5 kilometers to a small building in a busy market area. The sign said, Adult Evening School. Learn business and accounting. The school was not fancy. It had wooden benches and a chalkboard with cracks. The generator outside made a loud noise. Gug gug gug. Amina walked into the office. The headmaster, Mr. Obi, looked at her green cleaner uniform. He looked at her tired face. Madam, classes are for students, he said kindly. We do not need a cleaner right now. Amina stood tall. I am not here to clean, sir. I am here to learn. Mr. Obi was surprised. School fees are expensive. It is hard work. You work all day. Can you handle it? Amina put her shoe money on the table. I will handle it. I will sleep less. I will eat less. But I must learn. Mr. Obi smiled. Knowledge does not ask about your job, madam. It only asks if you are ready. So, her double life began. Every morning, she was the invisible cleaner at the cola group. She wiped the floors. She took the insults. When staff threw papers on the floor, she picked them up, but she did something else too. She read the papers. She found discarded business reports in the trash bins. She hid them in her cleaning cart. When she cleaned the empty conference rooms, she read the whiteboard before wiping it. She learned words like revenue, profit margin, and investment. At night, she went to the noisy school. She sat at the back. She was older than the other students. Some laughed at her. Look, Grandma's trying to be a banker, they joked. Amina ignored them. She studied by candlelight until her eyes burned. She also started to save. She joined a local Isuzu group. It is a traditional way to save money with friends. Every month, she put half her salary there. She stopped eating lunch. She drank only water to stop the hunger. She grew thinner. Her uniform became even more loose. Her co-workers laughed. Amina, why are you killing yourself? Eat some meat, she just smiled. I am feeding my future, she said. Mr. Kola walked past her every day. He never looked at her. He thought she was just a static object, like a table or a chair. He did not know that the woman scrubbing his floor was slowly understanding his business better than he did. While Amina was quietly rising, step by step, Mr. Kola was walking into a trap. He was too proud to see the storm coming. And the storm was getting closer. 5 years passed. Amina was still the cleaner. She still wore the green uniform. But inside, she was different. She had finished her evening school. She now had a diploma in business. She was smart. She understood how money worked. But while Amina was growing, Mr. Kola was falling. Things in the office started to change. First, the free coffee for staff stopped. Then, the office was hot because they turned off the AC to save money. The workers started to whisper. They say Oga owes the bank a lot of money, a secretary said. He spent too much on his new private jet. Cried. 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 Amina heard everything. She kept her head down and listened. One day, she was cleaning near Kola's door. He was shouting on the phone. I need more time, Kola yelled. Do not take my building. Do you know who I am? He slammed the phone. He looked tired. He was sweating. He was drinking alcohol in the middle of the day. Amina watched him. She did not feel sorry for him. She knew what was happening. In her business class, she learned a simple rule. You cannot spend what you do not have. A few months later, the bad news came out. Amina was sweeping the lobby. The big TV on the wall showed the news. Kola Group in big trouble. Billionaire cannot pay debts. The office went crazy. People packed their bags. Managers quit their jobs. Everyone wanted to leave before the company died, but Mr. Kola did not want to believe it. He stood on a chair in the open office. Do not listen to the lies, he shouted. I am Kola. I am too big to fail. I will fix this. But his voice shook. His eyes were full of fear. Amina watched him. She held her mop. She went to see old Musa at the gate. Papa, she said. The big tree looks strong. But inside, it is dry. It will fall soon. Musa nodded. Pride is a heavy load, my daughter. He forgot to be humble. Pride? That evening, Amina did something brave. She walked into the HR office. She put a letter on the table. I am leaving, she said softly. The HR lady did not care. Okay. Give me your badge. Go. Oh. Amina walked out of the glass building. She looked up at the tall tower one last time. Goodbye, Mr. Kola, she whispered. When I come back, I will not be cleaning your floor. She walked away into the busy street. She was not afraid. She had a plan. Kola thought his problem was just money. He did not know the truth. The person who was coming to take his company was the same woman he called trash. The phone call that would change everything was coming. And Kola was not ready. 2 years went by slowly. The Kola group was dying. It was like a big tree with no water. The office was quiet. Most desks were empty because Kola could not pay salaries. Mr. Kola sat in his office. He looked terrible. His face was rough with a beard. His eyes were red. He had not slept well for many nights. His expensive blue suit was wrinkled. The phone on his desk rang. It was a loud sound in the quiet room. Kola picked it up. Hello? It was the bank manager. His voice was cold. Mr. Kola, time is up. We are seizing your assets today. No! Kola shouted. He stood up. Give me 1 more week. I have friends. I can get money. Your friends do not answer your calls, sir, the banker said. You have nothing left. But there is one chance. Kola held the phone tight. What chance? Tell me. An investor group has paid your debt, the banker explained. They now own 60% of the company. You will not be the boss anymore. You will answer to them. Kola felt sick. Him? Working for someone else? It was a nightmare. Who are they? He asked. They are called the Phoenix Trust, the banker said. The new owner is coming to the boardroom at 2 p.m. to sign the papers. Kola dropped the phone. He walked to the window. What he saw broke his heart. Downstairs, a tow truck was taking his expensive Rolls-Royce. A crowd of people stood on the street. They pointed and laughed. Look! A woman selling bananas shouted. The big man is crying today. Kola closed the curtains. He felt shame burning his face. He remembered the cleaner he fired years ago. He told her she was nothing. Now, he felt like nothing. He went to the small bathroom. He splashed cold water on his face. I am still Kola, he whispered. I can handle this new owner. It is probably some corrupt politician. I can trick him. At 1:55 p.m., he walked into the boardroom. The room was cold. His lawyers were there, looking sad. The bank officials were there, looking serious. Kola sat down. But he did not sit at the head of the table. That seat was empty. It was waiting for the new owner. Kola waited. Tick-tock, tick-tock. The clock was loud. At exactly 2 p.m., the door handle turned. Click. Kola stood up. He put a fake smile on his face. He expected a big man in a suit, but he did not see a man. First, he saw expensive high heels. Then he saw a sharp African print suit. The person walked in. Kola's eyes went wide. His mouth fell open. He stopped breathing. He knew that face. It was older. It was glowing with confidence. The woman he kicked. The cleaner. Amina. She stood at the head of the table. She looked straight at him. And she smiled. The room was dead silent. You could hear a pin drop. The air conditioner hummed, but the air felt hot and heavy. Mr. Kola stared at Amina. He rubbed his eyes. He thought he was dreaming. He thought he was going crazy. You? Kola whispered. His voice cracked. The cleaner? He looked at his lawyers. He looked at the bankers. He laughed a nervous, crazy laugh. Ha! Is this a joke? Who brought her here? Is she here to clean the table? He pointed a shaking finger at Amina. Woman! Get out! We are having a serious meeting here. Who let you in? But the bankers did not laugh. The lawyers did not smile. They looked at the floor. The chief lawyer, Mr. Ode, cleared his throat. He stood up. He looked nervous. Mr. Kola, please sit down, the lawyer said softly. This is not a joke. This is Madam Amina Yusuf. She is the chairman of Phoenix Trust. She is the new majority owner of this company. Kola felt his knees turn to water. He grabbed the edge of the table to stop from falling. What? Kola shouted. Impossible. She is a nobody. She used to scrub my toilet. How can she own my company? Amina did not shout back. She did not look angry. She looked calm. She looked like a queen. She walked slowly to the head of the table. The big leather chair, Kola's favorite chair, was waiting. She pulled it back. She sat down comfortably. She placed her expensive handbag on the table. She looked at Kola. Her eyes were sharp and clear. "Good afternoon, Mr. Kola," she said. Her voice was smooth. She spoke perfect English now. No fear, no shaking. "Please, take a seat," she commanded. Kola stood frozen. His pride was fighting with his fear. But the bank manager stared at him. "Sit down, sir, or we call security." Kola slowly sank into the small chair on the side. He felt small. He felt like a child in the principal's office. "How?" Kola whispered. "Where did you steal the money?" Amina smiled. It was a sad smile. "I did not steal, Mr. Kola. While you were buying cars, I was buying books. While you were sleeping in this office, I was studying in the dark. While you were throwing money away, I was saving every kobo." She opened a folder on the table. She pulled out a stack of papers. "I started with selling pure water," she told the room. "Then I supplied stationery. Then I invested in land. God blessed my hard work. And when I saw your company was failing, my partners and I decided to buy it." Kola looked down at his hands. He remembered the day he kicked her bucket. He remembered the coffee stain. He remembered his words, "You have no brain." End quote. Another no. Another no. Another no. Another no. Another no. Another no. Now, the woman with no brain owned his life. "I am dreaming," Kola mumbled. "Wake me up. You are awake," Amina said. Her voice became serious. "And we have work to do. This company is a mess. You made a mess." She pushed a paper toward him. "Read this," she said. Kola looked at the paper. His hands shook so much he could hardly hold it. "What is this?" he asked. "It is an agreement," Amina said. "You can sign it and keep a job here. Or you can refuse, and the bank will take your house, your car, and your village land." Kola looked at her with fear. He realized she held his entire life in her hands. He thought she would fire him. He thought she would scream at him. But what she did next was more shocking than anything else. She leaned forward. "I have a special role for you, Mr. Kola. A role that will teach you what you never learned." The room waited. Kola held his breath. Amina tapped the table. "Turn the page." Kola turned the page. His hands were sweating. He read the words on the paper. "Junior logistics officer." He looked up, confused. "What is this?" "This is a mistake. I am the CEO." Amina shook her head. "No, Mr. Kola. You were the CEO. But you failed. You spent company money on parties and jets. You did not pay your workers. Now, the CEO chair belongs to me." "So, what is this?" Kola asked, pointing at the paper. "This is your new job," Amina said calmly. "You will not sit in this big office with the AC. You will work in the warehouse. You will check the boxes. You will make sure the trucks leave on time." Kola stood up, angry. His face turned red. "Me? Work in the warehouse? With the drivers and loaders? I am Kola. I am a big man. I cannot do small boy work." He threw the paper on the table. "I refuse. You are trying to humiliate me." Amina did not blink. She reached into her bag. She pulled out an old, yellow file. It was dusty. "Do you know what this is?" she asked. Kola looked at it. He did not know. "This is my old HR file," Amina said. Her voice was hard now. I kept a copy. She opened it and read out loud. If she makes one more mistake, fire her. There are thousands like her on the street. She has no brain. She has no value. The room went cold. Kola froze. He remembered those words. He said them 5 years ago when she spilled the water. Amina looked him in the eye. Mr. Kola, today I can say the same to you. There are thousands of managers on the street looking for work. Smart men. Honest men. Men who do not steal company money. She leaned closer. You said I had no value. But today, I am the one signing your paycheck. You said I was trash. But today, I am the only reason you are not going to jail. Kola fell back into his chair. He looked small. The big man was gone. He was just a frightened man. Why? Kola whispered. Why are you helping me? I treated you like an animal. Why don't you just fire me and laugh? Amina closed the file. She looked out the window at the city skyline. Because I am not you, she said softly. I do not kick people when they are down. My mother taught me better. She turned back to him. But do not think this will be easy. You will start tomorrow at 6 a.m. You will wear a uniform. And if you are late, even by 1 minute. She paused. The silence was heavy. If you are late, I will fire you. Just like you wanted to fire me. Kola swallowed hard. He looked at the contract again. He looked at the bank manager. The manager nodded. Meaning, sign it, or lose everything. With a shaking hand, Kola picked up the pen. He signed his name. He was no longer the king of the tower. He was an employee. Amina watched him sign. She did not smile. This was not a game. This was justice. But the biggest lesson was still coming. Amina had one last thing to show him. A secret that would change his heart forever. 1 month passed. The sun was hot. Inside the big warehouse at the back of the Kola Group building, it was noisy. Trucks were engines running. Men were shouting. Heavy boxes were being moved. In the middle of the noise, a man was lifting a heavy box of paper. He wore a blue work shirt. It was sweaty and dusty. He breathed hard. Ha! Ha! It was Mr. Kola. His soft hands were now rough. His big belly was smaller. He looked tired. But he was working. He put the box on the truck. He wiped sweat from his forehead with a dirty rag. Hey, move faster! The warehouse supervisor shouted at him. The truck must go. Yes, sir, Kola said. He ran to get another box. He remembered when he used to sit in the AC and shout at people. Now, people shouted at him. He finally understood how hard the work was. He finally understood the pain of the people he used to call lazy. Suddenly, the warehouse went quiet. The supervisor stopped shouting. The drivers stood up straight. Amina walked in. She was not wearing a suit today. She wore a simple, neat dress. She walked through the dust. She did not cover her nose. She walked straight to Kola. Kola froze. He held a box in his hands. He felt ashamed. He looked at his dirty shoes. He did not want her to see him like this. Amina stopped in front of him. She looked at his uniform. Good afternoon, Mr. Kola, she said. Kola looked up. His eyes were full of tears. Good afternoon, madam. He waited for her to laugh. He waited for her to say, look at you now. But she did not laugh. She reached into her bag. She pulled out a cold bottle of water. She held it out to him. Kola stared at the water. He remembered the day he kicked her bucket. He spilled her water. Now, she was giving him water. His hands shook as he took the bottle. Thank you, he whispered. He drank it fast. He was thirsty. Mr. Kola, Amina said softly. Do you remember when you told me I was invisible? Kola nodded. Yes. I was blind. I am sorry. You are not invisible now, Amina said. I see you working. The work is honest. There is no shame in hard work. The only shame is stealing and looking down on others. She looked around the warehouse. This is the heart of the company, she told him. Without these men, without the cleaners, without the drivers, the man in the big office is nothing. Kola lowered his head. I learned my lesson, madam. I learned it the hard way. Amina smiled. It was a kind smile. Good, she said. Finish your shift. If you work hard, maybe next year you can be a manager again. But a better manager. A humble manager. She turned to leave. Kola watched her walk away. He felt a strange feeling in his chest. It was respect. He wiped his face. He picked up the next box. It felt heavy, but he lifted it. Mr. Kola lost his money, but he found his soul. Amina found her power, but she never lost her heart. Life is a circle. The person you push down today might be the person you need to pull you up tomorrow. So, be kind. Be humble. Because no condition is permanent. If this story touched your heart, please type Amen in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more powerful stories. See you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching.